I just wanted to start off by saying I'm literally a social autist. And if you guys don't know me yet on this channel, my name's Maxim, and I'm the guy that was an extreme introvert and still am, but also going through a bunch of shit that I've put myself through. I've actually ended up unlocking a whole side to myself that I did not have before, which is like an extroverted side. And I used to think that it was just me faking it, me putting on this clown mask. But turns out, no, there was just a whole side of me that I refused to show to people. And in this specific video, I just wanted to share specifically with you guys about how I learned to slow down the conversation when I'm speaking to people. And this often reads as being confident or being dominant or controlling the frame of the entire conversation. And this is something I struggled with when I was much younger. I'm 26 right now, but I remember in my early 20s, not even early 20s, basically for the rest of my life before the last couple of years, I really struggled with this because I just didn't know I could never feel that I'm actually in control of a conversation because the person who had a much higher skill level in talking would always lead the conversation, and I just kind of had to go along with whatever they were saying. But one thing that I learned to do, and this was me learning this through knocking doors and selling internet, but one of the ways to slow down the whole interaction, well, it's literally just slow down your talking. And I know often for those of us that are not confident in what we're saying, we think we have to talk fast to appear like we know what we're talking about. You think when you're going back and forth with a stranger, we're like, all right, we gotta hurry up, we gotta throw in our 5 cents before we lose the opportunity. But the one thing I noticed is that, funny enough, you actually don't lose the opportunity when you're controlling the entire conversation, because just look at it this way: nothing happens, there is no decision that will be taken, we will not move forward from said topic until I decide so. Therefore, I always reserve the right or the time to say what I want to say, to give my input. So we don't actually have to rush in and try to fit in what we want to say. And I know a lot of us do this, but and it's kind of tricky to give an example, but even imagine the way I'm talking right now. And when I started doing just YouTube videos, I thought I had to speak fast to keep people engaged. And that's true for the most part, but quickly my other skills kicked in from real life experience, and I realized the people that want to be here will be here. I don't need to talk fast in order to capture someone's attention. People listen at different speeds, as in not clicking double speed or something. I'm literally saying people process information at different rates. So for some, talking fast just sounds like short form content, quick dopamine, something you would see on TikTok and Instagram. But on a long form video, I don't mind slowing down when I have to. Sometimes I'm full of energy, I just want to speak fast because I'm having like 1,000 thoughts per second and I'm trying to get all of it out before I forget it. In some videos, I will slow down the pace because I really want to make sure I'm saying what it is that I want to be saying. Do you notice how I just paused before I actually said the next thing? And this is something you guys can actually practice when it comes to having a conversation with a stranger. It doesn't matter if this person just said hi to you or they said, hey, how are you? It's not ignoring them if you don't respond right away. You don't actually have to shoot back with something to acknowledge them. I know what it feels like because as introverts, we have a very low threshold for social tension or that social pressure. If somebody speaks to us or says something to us, we feel like we have to respond and acknowledge them right away to alleviate any sort of social tension. But if you notice, when someone says hi to you, let's say they initiate, maybe you're even working at a regular retail, fast, anywhere, maybe you're working with customers at a job, and someone greets you, you can acknowledge them by making eye contact. Maybe looking at them for a couple seconds, maybe even nodding, and then saying, "Oh yeah, hello," right? How are you? Whatever it is that you wanted to say. But the point is, it's okay to slow down. And if anything, it shifts the weight of the conversation onto you. And it might feel like uncomfortable. It might feel like something uncomfortable at first because you don't want to have the responsibility or bear the responsibility of the conversation on your shoulders. But the good thing about that is there's another side to it. Because you bear the weight of the conversation, you also get to steer where it's going to go. So once again, slowing down our rate of speech literally allows us not only to say better things that we actually want to say, we don't end up saying something we didn't mean and then having to correct after. I notice even these days when I try to speak really fast, if I'm super caffeinated, like I drink a lot of coffee. I don't know how much is a lot, but I think I drink quite a bit of coffee. And when I speak so fast, I often end up having to correct myself more and more often. But I've also learned this when teaching up on the boards in front of my office when I used to run an office. You feel like when you're up teaching people or talking to a group of people, you're supposed to once again fill that silence, and the stakes are much higher now because this isn't just one person that you're speaking to. Now suddenly there's 5, 10, 20 people or 1,000 people that are listening to you, and you pause and you think, oh my God, I'm going to lose them, or I feel such pressure because they're all looking at me. And the longer you pause for, you think the more likely you are to lose your train of thought. But that's just not the case. In fact, pausing is so much better to buy more time for you to generate more thoughts as you're speaking. There's something called pregnant pauses. I know, sounds super weird, guys. Pregnant pause, like what the hell is that? A pregnant pause is when you make a pause on purpose to emphasize something that you just said, to let it sink in. It's like when you just drop some kind of knowledge, some kind of facts, and then you pause. It hits a lot harder. And you should practice pausing on purpose after you said something meaningful or when you want to emphasize something. That's one of the ways you can emphasize something, by pausing. Pausing or using those pregnant pauses slows down the conversation as well, right? And slowing down the conversation, actually, as I was saying earlier, I think I just quickly jumped topics here, but when the weight of the conversation is on you and you get to steer it, guess what happens? The other person also feels that. They feel like this person, you in this case, they're not afraid to slow down. They're confident. They're guiding the interaction. They respond when they feel like they have come up with an answer, not because I demanded it. So look at it this way. Tell your mind, all right, I'm going to respond when I feel like it. And it's not about being rude or about being controlling in that sense. It's more like, very often if you shoot back with an answer, you're going to end up saying not exactly what you wanted to say. But if you take just an extra couple seconds to say something, and that pause, it really makes a difference. And then as you speak, making pregnant pauses is extremely important. In fact, I do this without thinking now, especially when I'm talking to you guys or just talking to anyone really. You'd notice that I sometimes pause, and it's not like pause for effect, trying to make it seem like there's some kind of special effects. That's not what I'm saying. It's just more like, after any time you want to emphasize something, this is exactly when you use a pause, when you want to make emphasis. Yes, you can change your tonality, you can speed up, you can lean in, you can do all kinds of things, but that's just one of the ways to slow down the conversation. And I'm telling you once again, slowing down the conversation is extremely powerful. No, you're not going to lose your prospect. If you're dealing with an audience of people who are watching you online, if you're dealing with someone you're trying to sell, you're trying to grab someone quickly and talk to them, maybe you're cold approaching a chick and you think you have to get your words out fast, that's not actually true. It's what you say during the time you're actually speaking. And even more so, what's important, another step up, is your tonality and how you say it. So yeah, what you say, important, not important, it's a low level of importance, but then how you say it is even more important. And just that one line buys you enough time to actually say what you want to say and capture their attention. And guess what? If you didn't capture their attention, well, why would you go out of your way to speak faster, sound worse, pass the control of the conversation to them, and now they get to leave the interaction whenever they feel like it because they're the ones who have the control? Let's not do that, right? I'll let you guys digest some of the information I just said because this can be overwhelming, but I promise you guys it is so simple. If one thing that you were going to implement, and I am telling you this, implement this into your own life, slow down every single conversation you're having, you will see the level of respect people actually give you. Like the level of confidence and aura you're going to generate just by slowing down your speaking. And you can use it dynamically. You can slow down, you can speed up for emphasis, you can slow down again for emphasis. If you want to make something sound more secretive or something more important, you want to really slow down and change your tone a bit. And then you want to speed up once again to catch their attention because you see they're drifting away. Literally, I'm demonstrating it to you guys as I'm speaking. And once again, this is coming from someone who is, I swear, like, I was the awkward kid always. I couldn't speak to people. I was super, super introverted, and I still am. I love my alone time. I'm just gonna keep saying that. I love spending time alone. I never feel lonely. I enjoy watching anime. You know, I have the anime symbol or like from one of the animes in the back of my head, I guess. But at the same time, being able to pop out that extroverted side and control conversations and get what you want out of an interaction is insanely powerful. I just often thought to myself, how did I get here? How did I survive this long in this world where there's so many people? It's like PvP, you know what I mean? Like, it's just people who claim what's theirs. Everyone wants a piece of their own, something for themselves, and you're there with your mouth zipped up. That was me, right? And interestingly enough, actually, I'm also building a community right now where I literally just relaunched it, and I will teach you exactly how to unlock that extroverted side. But the one thing you're not going to have to do is you're not going to have to go knocking doors for a living for years and do all that bull crap, which is what I had to do to figure this out. I would just feed it to you on a plate. I would tell you, do this, do that, now do this, and do that, and you'll find yourself that you're just going to improve your life quality because you'll be getting more out of life, more of the things that you want out of your own life. So that's a bonus. Check out the link in the description. And so controlling the pace of the conversation, this is something I haven't said yet in this video, is allows you to lead. So it's one thing controlling the frame or the interaction, but it's another thing to lead the other person. And what I mean by leading, and this is super important. If you're ever trying to persuade someone, maybe it's your friend, and you guys want to go see the movies, and your friend is like, I want to see this movie, and you're like, no, but this movie's actually better. This is where leading comes into place. You need to lead people in order to persuade people with your ideas. Whether it's sales, whether you want to get a girl to like you, you want to get an employer to like you so that they hire you, whichever scenario you're using this in, the way you lead an interaction, and this is building on top of the previous thing I just mentioned, which is slowing down the pace of your words. When you slow down, one thing, just watch this. Next time you're speaking to someone, slow down, watch what happens to the other person. They will also slow down. Chances are the other person isn't some absolute genius when it comes to conversations and they haven't mastered their speech, they just use speech on a day-to-day basis, they're gonna follow you. If you start speaking slower, let's say this person comes in like, hey, what's up, how's going on? You know, they have so much energy and all, and you're like, and you need to match their energy, and then slowly bring it down. And I'm not saying bring down the excitement of the conversation. I'm saying bring them into your frame at the rate of which you're speaking and saying the words. So you've slowed down now, and they notice you've slowed down, but it's subconscious. They will start speaking slower. And funny enough, where I've learned to do that is actually, and you guys, you know, if you've ever had a person knock on your door trying to sell you something, that was me. And yeah, let's get over the fact that it's a pain in the ass. I know it's annoying. Like, it's annoying as fuck. But you've probably run into a person who's doing door-to-door sales. Maybe, maybe not. But what ended up happening whenever I try to speak to someone who's not interested or who doesn't even want to listen to me, they're just going to close the door on me, right? And I start by speaking quick and saying my first couple lines, so that holds them there. And they're like, yeah, I gotta go, come on. And then slowly, I slow down, they slow down, and before you know it, they're speaking to me. And the fact that they had to go, they just lied. They just didn't want to talk to me. Because they're like, oh, what does this guy want from me? I don't have money, whatever. So slowing down the conversation allows you to also, as a byproduct, lead the conversation. And when you're leading them, they're now, it's subconscious. Once again, the person will follow you, follow your energy. And when they are doing it, they're more likely. And just hold on for a second there. This is actually super powerful. Can be used super manipulatively. It's like this can be, I've seen salespeople in my career path at the time use this in the most unethical ways to straight up scam people. When you lead somebody in a conversation, there's a much higher chance they will agree with what it is that you're saying. I'll say that again. When you're leading someone in a conversation without them even realizing, it happens on a subconscious level. If that person is going to follow your lead, they're going to fall in line into your frame. Chances are they're going to end up agreeing with whatever it is that you're saying. Isn't that scary? That's absolutely powerful. Notice how I just paused right there once again. That's just to let that sink in, because I just said something that requires a lot of emphasis, because this is something very important and powerful and can be misused. And I'm not telling this to you, for you guys to go ahead and try to persuade people into doing weird shit or be super selfish in your friend group and always try to convince your friends to do only what you want to do. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying in the event that maybe you want to get a raise from your boss, and you're coming in there like a little pussy, like, oh, well, I think I just don't know how to say this, but can I get a raise? I swear I worked hard. And they're just kind of look at you, fuck off, like, come on, get out of here, right? That's not how you want the interaction to go. In fact, if you were going in to get a raise, I'll tell you exactly how it should go. You get in there, obviously let them know ahead of time, hey, you free this lunch? I just want to talk to you real quick. No, it's nothing crazy, nothing serious, no, don't worry about it. You don't want them preparing what to say, right? You want to be prepared what to say. You want to have your whole ace cards up your sleeve. You go in there, sit down, hey, yeah, what's up, how's it been going? Yeah, anyway, so I think it's time I get a raise. You don't have to say it even arrogantly. You can just say it as it is and pause. Pause, don't fill the silence. I swear, don't say anything. See how they react first. You get in there, you have some small talk at first to ease up. How's things going? Yeah, it's great. Just got a new cat the other day, and my dog has a broken leg, whatever. Just took it to the hospital. Yeah, but anyway, I want to talk to you about getting a raise. That's it. I'm literally gonna look at them and just blink, or blink or not blink, it doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna look at them in the eyes, see what they say. I'm not gonna talk fast. They're probably gonna shoot something back eventually. Like, oh, well, you know, the budget's tight, or, oh man, well, it's kind of untimely because, you know, your other guy just got promoted. There's no opportunities. It doesn't matter what they say. You can still, you'll be surprised. Imagine your lowly ass employee talking to your boss, who's like a god to you, and you get to control the conversation. You get to narrate what happens. And you're sitting there like, you know, they just shot back some kind of, objection, that they don't want you to get a raise for some reason. Don't answer right away. Sit there, look at them, look away, nod a bit, take a deep breath, let that sink in. You're doing two things here. The first thing is you're controlling and slowing down the conversation. The second thing you're doing is you're letting your boss feel the weight of what he just said. It kind of dawns on him like, oh shit, maybe I was kind of an asshole because this guy's not replying right away. So naturally he can't read you. He doesn't know, because as soon as you speak, he reads you. Oh, he liked it, he didn't like it. He's okay with it, he's gonna fight me. But if you don't say anything right away, you don't give a specific impression, you're just thinking of your thoughts, for a few seconds there, he's gonna start going in circles in his mind. Oh shit, did I say something wrong? Did I step over the line? Damn, maybe I should reevaluate. Maybe he was working well. Maybe he's a good employee. Shit. You just let him run around in circles in his own head, all while you took your sweet ass time to just sit back in the chair. Yeah. I just think it would be fair that I get a raise because I have been doing extra responsibilities. Not only that, I know I produce more than some of the other guys there. And then I'd say like one thing and then just sit there again and wait. I'm not gonna throw up all my arguments. I'm not gonna, you know, show all my cards up my sleeve. No, I'm just gonna slowly go one by one. That's a whole other strategy, which actually I just made a lesson on in my school. But I'm specifically talking how you apply slowing down the conversation. So before you know it, your boss is scrambling to say a bunch of shit to you, and you're just sitting there like a fucking god. You just stole all the power from him, and you're getting what you want before you leave that room. You are getting what you want. You're narrating what happens. You're narrating the conversation. You're slow. You're confident. Your boss in the back of his head is like, why does this guy have such huge balls? Does he have something I'm not seeing? Am I undervaluing him? Is there something that I'm not seeing? It makes them second guess themselves. So you slowed it down. They're now following you. Once he stops scrambling around, he's now going to start falling into your frame, and you're going to guide him into why you think you should get a raise. I can actually make a whole video on how to get a raise because I was really good at that when I was working different jobs. I was so good at negotiating raises, and I figured it out. That's a whole other strategy. And let me know, guys, if you actually want me to talk about that. I don't know what's the prime demographic that watches my videos. I would assume you're somebody who is probably a little bit like me, or like I used to be when I was much younger. And if there are specific videos that you guys want me to make on certain topics, I'd be more than happy to, because chances are I've been through it, especially if it comes to some kind of communication thing. I've seen it all at this point. You don't understand what happens to you when you've spent years knocking doors for a living, commission only, in the cold, in the storms. It just builds you like nothing else. But I don't wish that upon anyone, honestly. And so I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Once again, guys, I've just relaunched my community, so what that means for you is that I'm actually having the price set very low right now, because I'm still filling it with a lot of content. But as soon as I fill it with more content, and I promise you guys this, I will put the price what I think it's worth, because I did not go through all this hellhole to undersell myself. Just being real with you guys, right? And I wouldn't expect you to either. When you're paying for something, I want you guys to get more value than you could have ever hoped for, and I want something to be actually transformational for you, because there is a whole side of you that you haven't unlocked, and it is the weirdest thing unlocking it, and you kind of feel like you're a little bit putting on a mask, like I'm not actually that person, am I? But when you've done it so many times, you've unlocked an unplayable character at the time, and now you get to switch it on whenever you feel like it. You want to go talk to that bitch over there. You know what's funny? Do you know how many times I get away with saying so many things to people because of my tonality without even actually thinking of what I'm saying? I used to think that the most important thing when you're coming up to talk to a chick or to talk to a stranger is what you're saying. What should I say when I approach them? What should I say? What should I say? That doesn't fucking matter. Like, it actually doesn't. In fact, it's about how you say it, and you'll be surprised how much shit you can get away with saying. And I was always envious of that guy in school who would always blurt a bunch of shit out. Like, if I swore in class, my teacher would give me shit. But that one kid who swears whenever he feels like gets away with it somehow. It's like, what? But yeah, I'm not saying you want to be swearing and getting away with it, but I'm saying you can actually get away with saying what's on your mind and not feeling bad about your own opinion. What happened to freedom of thought? Say what you think. Be able to back it up. People will feel that about you. Anyway, thanks for watching.